The NET funding was distributed across the 4 nations, and we made Welsh Government aware that there was going to be funding, around £100,000 worth of funding distributed in grants to DPOs in Wales, and I think they were quite keen to be able to support that.
From the first conversations I was having with organisations, one of the first things that was coming up was capacity issues and the lack of funding out there to help deal with them, because they just have so many members of people wanting to have just some more support in their daily life.
The Welsh Government has a Disability Equality Forum which met a number of times with the Minister to be able to provide information and feedback to her about how the pandemic was impacting on disabled people in Wales. So I think they were aware of the issues that disabled people were facing, and I think saw being able to support and provide additional funding to the COVID Emergency Fund as a way of helping to tackle some of the issues that disabled people were experiencing.
When you're talking about a topic, especially when you're talking about protected characteristics, you need to have that lived experience in the room, because if you've just got an experience of someone else's experience, that means you're not going to know all of the nuances behind those experiences.
It's that well-known maxim, nothing about us without us. Disabled people, we are the experts. We know best what the barriers we face and what the solutions are to overcoming them. So co-production was vital, because by understanding what the needs were, it meant that projects would actually meet those needs.
Sometimes you think you're explaining something and people just don't know what you're on about, but it's obvious to you. But you've got to sort of argue and make a case because they don't understand what it's like to be a disabled person. But if you've got people who are with that lived experience, they get what you're saying, they get what you want to do, and they get why you want to do it, which makes a big difference. And the decision-making process was also very quick, which was good.
What I can say about the application process is that it was easy. It felt like it was almost fast-tracked because the funds were coming in quite quickly.
From a grantee point of view, I think it was a good process because people understood what we were talking about, what the issues were that we were facing, and they also understood how what we were proposing would help people.
One of the things we thought that would be really important in terms of looking to the future, beyond the pandemic and beyond lockdown, would be to equip DPOs with skills around funding and fundraising. So with the funding, the additional funding awarded by Welsh Government, we were able to appoint a fundraising consultancy who worked with DPOs, ran workshops around different aspects of funding, like grant applications or online fundraising, did one-to-one coaching and mentoring.
We had the additional money from the Welsh Government. That was another lump sum that we used to buy art materials and post them out. But there was also all the training and the advice that was given through the consulting company. I think they're called Newton, and we had a lot of sessions on, how to write an application, how to tell people what you do and why you do it in a way that they understand. So, how to get your message across, and that's been very helpful. I've used the information we learned there in making funding applications since.
We had a very successful networking event where most of the organisations were able to come together and participate, and they were able to actually introduce themselves to each other, and that was actually a lot more successful than I'd previously hoped. as they were when talking, they started talking about issues they were having, and then you had the other organisations saying they had similar issues and how they were tackling them. So what's happened is this funding, where it was originally just some different organisations doing different projects, they've all now networked with each other and seem to be connecting a lot more and kind of dealing with some issues in a more collective way. And that was both fascinating and really exciting.